I have to tell you, so very excited about, and just a huge, huge, huge fan
Oh,
of Julie Larson. I mean, we have known each other, I'm not even sure how long right now.
long
A,
time.
a number of years. And I will say one of the things that she has really just, you all know that I can talk and I love to talk. But I will tell you that it really is just so wonderful to be able to get insight from someone who gets it, someone who isn't just, look, this is what I'm an expert in, this is what you need to know. And I'm so very happy to have her here. And I'm not even going to put her full screen up. She's already there. We're already spotlighting her. So I'm just going to hand it over to Julie Larson and let her do her thing. Julie, I'm so happy to have you here sharing with our survivor community. Thank you.
Oh, it's so nice to be here. Thank you for welcoming me. When I logged in and I saw you all already in an engaged conversation, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm late. I need to join in and connect with these women. So I am happy to be here. And thank you for carving out this space and this time. And if nothing else, let's let this next hour together be a sanity break, be a moment to just sit back in your chair, come together with other people who get it and are with you, and to kind of dig into what you might need to hear as we think about this relationship with your body. I have titled this The Shifting Focus and the Relationship with Your Body, because I do feel that this is a relationship. And like with all relationships, there are times when you are in sync and you feel like you're clicking and it's nice and it's good. And then, not unlike other relationships that you have in your life, there are times when it feels there's strain and there's misunderstanding and there's hurt and disappointment or betrayal. And so I want you to think about that. There have been some light bulb moments in my office when people come to think about, oh, maybe my body has something that my mind and my heart and my soul need right now. So, and that is an important kind of realization to have when there's so many complicated feelings around your body and cancer. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to flip over and share my screen and share some slides. I am very happy to see that this chat is busy. Keep it going. Let's keep this chat moving. Go there. I'm going to try and split my attention and watch you over there in the chat. I am also going to pause here and there and just say, how you doing? And where is this hitting you? And if there's something that really resonates that I say, I have no problem with you popping up and expanding on that and sharing groups. So in those moments where I pause and just check in, please don't hesitate to speak up. Give me 1 second. Be patient with me here 1 second while I make sure that what I pop up on my screen is exactly what you want to see. Hold on. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. Okay. Can you see that there, everybody? Good. Okay. So here we go. Here's where we're going to begin. I thought this graphic is so cool. Because there's kind of this image here of holding that hurt, holding that sadness that you could feel within this relationship that you have with your body. These are some, I'm just putting a list out there of some common things that I hear when people are walking into my office and talking about the discomfort or the unsettled, the restlessness, the grief that they feel when they think about their body, their relationship with their body after a cancer diagnosis. And I know today we are here very focused on cervical cancer. Many survivors have these feelings around different places, but cervical cancer is certainly very key for women and how you think about your femininity, your reproductive system, your body, your sexuality. But there can be a difficulty connecting. Like you live some distance from your body, right? Or everybody takes the elevator to the top floor. They're only living kind of in their head. body avoidance, like not really wanting to look at your body, not really wanting to touch it. The awareness that when I put on certain types of clothes or when I do certain types of activities, I feel uncomfortable because that feels foreign to me or my body has changed. Body has let me down. Certainly there's a lot of tears. There's anger in my office around those feelings of betrayal or even mistrust in your body. How do I trust this body? Fear of listening. And I think that's really key, fear of listening, because as a therapist, as a mental health professional, so often one of the first things that I say to people is to find calm and to get centered in your body. Yikes. And sometimes that means breathing. Sometimes that means, getting your feet on the ground. And then those survivors that I'm sitting with say to me, yo, Julie, I don't want to listen to my body. That's uncomfortable for me. And in fact, that's actually triggering my anxiety. So there's that fear of tuning in. Feeling angry, it's part of grief. Longing for your old body or pre-cancer. And the worry of just plain slowing down. Like, I'm just going to keep busy and keep moving. So because if I have a moment of stillness or I have a moment where I just chill and relax and calm, then I might begin to be more aware of either my thoughts and my feelings about all of this or things that just don't feel the same. So my instinct is that this list probably resonates, or some of the pieces on here resonate for you. Feel free to light up that chat and tell me more what you're hearing and what you're saying. But yeah, go ahead, find each other in the chat and we'll keep going here. Okay, so body changes cancer survivors might experience. So that's kind of what I'm thinking I see and I hear. These are things that people might experience. And maybe you experience some of these, maybe you experience all of these, maybe you experience one or a few, but temporary permanent hair loss. So there's hair loss. There can be weight gain or loss, scars that may seem minor or something to somebody else, but it is your body and it wasn't there before. And it's a reminder to you, or a big giant scar that is not minor and is very affects a lot of the way you feel about the way you look. Loss. So loss of limbs, loss of breast, loss of other organs, loss of function in certain organs or systems, changes in sexual ability, infertility, menopause, swelling. These are just a few of the things that many women talk about, many survivors talk about that they experience from a cancer diagnosis. And that certainly affects how we feel. Okay. So let's just take a moment and let's pause. And maybe even after this slide, I'll just take a pause to just check in with you. But what exactly are we talking about when we say these words body image? You hear that. It's in culture all the time. We talk about body image and the way we feel about our body. Well, let's just spell this out here for a second. Body image is what you believe about your appearance, how you feel about your body. And your body image can be influenced by, let's see if these graphics work, how we look or how we think we look, how we feel about ourselves, and how we think others might feel about us, right? So that one you might be like, no, I don't think I feel that way. And then you think about maybe being in the bedroom and how somebody is going to feel about your body or feel about you. Or you think about when you go out and you wear clothes that you've not worn in a while and you're like, oh my gosh, what are other people thinking or feeling about me? And how does that then affect how I feel about myself? When you go to the doctor and things are not quite the same. I'm just going to click one more time and I'm going to highlight a couple words here. And that's where we're going to focus today. What you believe, which is your thinking, what you feel, which is emotions, what you think, what you feel, what you think, what you feel. So much of your body image is directly related to what you think and what you feel. And so I'm going to challenge all of you to begin to pay close attention to that connection and just cultivate this little habit of checking in on yourself. What's going through my head? What am I thinking about? And how is that making me feel? Or this feeling of discomfort, of awkwardness. Whew, How's that showing up? How do I know that's what I'm feeling? And then what thoughts are driving that behind there? So we're going to dig into that a little bit more. But before I do that, I just want to check in and just see how this is hitting all of you. If we are on track, I'm going to stop my share, because when I do this, I want to see all your faces. Where do I find you? Feel free to unmute and just give me a little window into where this is hitting you. And I'm a therapist, so like, I'm really cool with silence. I can sit here all day. So you guys tell me.
Julie, it's probably because I kept telling them to turn off their cameras and mute themselves. Phyllis is like, yep, no, you guys do what Julie says, turn your cameras on.
I am overriding Tamika.
She's one of the few people I'll let that happen. I see you, Karen. Don't enjoy it too much.
But feel free, if you'd like to, you can unmute and just tell me just a quick moment of what this is for you, or I can keep moving.
I totally needed that laugh, because all I've done is sit here and bawl.
Oh, yeah.
I can share something about body image. So I'm a little older, so I'm 64, and I went through menopause maybe 15 years ago. So I had a hard time with my thyroid, and I had gained a lot of weight. I was always very fit, and I had gained a lot of weight, and I had just lost all the weight right before my diagnoses. So, they make you weigh yourself in triplicate when you have treatment. You go in, and it's I think now they know me that I really dislike the scale, but it really is body image. And I'm like, and I know I should say to myself, wow, I can still get on the scale. But in my head, it's like, wow, I'm moving up.
Yeah. Well, Philomena, I'm so glad you brought that up, because what you're talking about for me, when I listen to that, and others, as you listen, that might register for you, but this other key takeaway might register for you. I'm hearing that scale is a trigger.
It is.
It's a trigger. And so I think as a survivor, you increasingly become more and more aware of what your triggers are, what throws you back, right? You could be coping and rolling through your day, pretty confident and pretty calm and grounded. And then that scale, or that moment in that appointment pops up, and whoa, we're in a totally different place. So there may be something for you just to name it. Hey, that scale's a trigger for me. Step on it backwards.
Now I laugh about it. Now I've gotten to the point where I do laugh about it, because when I get on the scale in the hematology department, I get on the scale. I've been on the scale in my home. So I'm already 5 pounds up, because I'm naked at home.
I know.
I'm not letting anything weigh more. And then I'm 5 pounds up. And then when I go downstairs to the actual infusion center, I'm another 3 pounds up. So it's a joke. It's like, how many more pounds am I going to be in one day?
Yeah.
So I laugh about it. So
Yep.
Actually ask, what did you weigh upstairs?
Well, and when we get into this more, I'm going to talk about some self-compassion. And one of the first steps of self-compassion is a step of self-compassion of the reality check. So hang steady, bookmark that there. We're going to get to that. Okay. I'm going to pop back over to my screen so we can keep moving, but I'll touch base with you guys again. Okay. So here we are. We're talking about what you believe, what you think, what you feel about your body, what you think or feel others might be interpreting or seeing too. Little behind the curtain, I feel as a therapist, so much of my work is in balance. So many things are balance. The balance between tuning in to what we're needing and kind of having a moment to kind of seek calm and be introspective, and to kind of burrow in and to be okay with stepping back, and the balance to also reaching out, the balance of discipline and compassion, insight and calm. I say to clients all the time, that self-compassion moment, it gives you grace to just cash in the day, put on your cozy clothes and lay on the couch and just say, this is what I need right now, to kind of lower your expectations. But your mental health, folks, also demands that sometimes you give yourself a kick in the pants and you get out the door and you go for the walk and you reach out to the friends. So it's both. It's both. It's giving yourself grace and saying, it's okay to lower my expectations and to let go. And then, whoa, I've been doing that a lot. And now I need to step it up and I need to get some routine to hang my day on, right? The difference between, I think a lot of us, when we think about trying to understand what we need and how to cope, we dive right into insight, like what's going on for me, what's happening, why am I rattled, what's going on, what triggered this, ding, 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 insight, think, when perhaps what would be most helpful is to step away from all that thinking and seek calm and just to breathe and just to get centered in your body first. All right, so that's also this lens of balance between these two things. It's neither one nor the other. It's not 100% here. It's this pendulum swinging. I want you to hold that, this balance piece and that lens as we keep talking, okay? Okay, so you have probably talked to or listened to other people speak or talked to, whether it's a therapist or social worker, or even your doctor or other survivors, and heard people frame a cancer experience in the frame of grief. And if not, just take a moment and think about the you from the moment you heard you have cancer to now, and you'll probably recognize those stages, those classic stages of grieving. Right now, I don't like to think about this. I'm going to avoid it. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to just focus on this over here. I'm not going to think about this. This is upsetting. It's bothering me, but I'm going to put on this outfit because it makes me feel comfortable. And I'm just not going to talk about it today. That could be avoidance or denial. Anger, this sucks. This isn't fair. I feel annoyed. I feel irritated, especially when other things trigger you. Perhaps it's other people when you begin to compare, and this isn't fair that everybody else gets to do this, or other people don't have to struggle in this way. And I am irritated by that anger. Bargaining. Well, when I lose those 15 pounds, then I will be all good. When I begin to use my dilator every single day and I get to this level, well, then I will not feel shame and embarrassment. And that's when I'll go out and I'll do things and I'll feel more comfortable sexually. When I, begin to, when I am on that diet and I'm doing it for 14 days, solid, perfect, no flaws. Well, then that's when my body's going to be better. That's when I'm not going to feel as much worry and anxiety. So sometimes we bargain with it. That's kind of another place of denial. It's avoiding it a little bit. And then underneath all of that is sadness. So I kind of think these first three, if you're like listening to those first three and you're like, yes, check. So often my clients, I call it stuck in the dab. And I will say, people will talk to me, begin speaking, and I'll sit back in my chair and I'm like, what I think is going on is I think you're stuck in the dab. And like, what in the world are you talking about? What does that mean? Well, I think we're stuck in this vicious cycle of denial, anger, and bargaining. And well, of course you are, because that's like clawing to stay up so that you don't have to land in this pit of sadness. Because if we're really just strip it all away, this is sad and it's vulnerable and it hurts. And that sadness can include worry that you'll never be okay. Right? It's dark, it's lonely there. And people don't want to do that. They don't want to get to that vulnerable, dark place. Or if they do it very privately, and that's okay. But they kind of engage in this denial, anger, bargaining to stay out of that. Well, sadness requires that you have somebody that you really trust to feel safe with in that feeling. And then acceptance isn't rainbows and unicorns and everything is fine and dandy. Acceptance is, this is what it is. Here we are. I feel upset at times. I feel grateful for friendships who love me no matter what. This is where I'm at. Those feelings come and go for me. And now what? If this is what I have to deal with, this is different. So now what? And that it's kind of like taking charge of what is. Grief takes time. Cancer changes you. So give yourself time to understand how. To understand yourself, in your relationships, in your world. It takes time. Okay, managing the mind, paying attention with purpose. Paying attention with purpose. So sometimes I talk to my clients about what we're doing is going to the mental gym. That these next slides, or the next part of my talk is going to go into strategies, like actually nuts and bolts tools. So if you got a piece of paper and a pen, grab it. So you can like steal some of this and you can take it and you can write down what really resonates for you. And I'm going to call this the mental gym, because the more you do these things, the bigger that muscle gets. You know, people say to me, I can't meditate. I don't even know how. That's crazy. Well, meditation is hard. It is the bicep curl of staying in your present, right? Your brain and your mind is the job of your mind is to think. So if you start to get quiet and your head starts taking a spin down a train of terribles, are going, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. There's nothing wrong with that. And your work, your bicep curl, is to see it, bring it back, and begin again. And as you begin to do that more and more, you get better at it. And then when you feel that trigger, you're like, whoop, there it is. Breathe, bring it back, begin again. A wonderful question in a time of struggle. First of all, you got to pay attention to, do you know when it's a time of struggle? Okay. But when you know what that is, and we're going to talk about that. But when you feel in a time of struggle, a great question to ask yourself is, what am I doing that's helpful? And what am I doing that's not working for me? Okay. Hold on to that. I think we're going to get a little more detail. And if my slides coming up here don't give more detail into that, I'm going to give you some examples. But before, let me just check and see. Yeah, before we get to those strategies, I'm going to bring it on back here to see all of your faces again. Oh, nobody has their video on. You can turn it on if you want. Oh, there you all are. Hi. And I'm just curious how now where I'm hitting you, now where I've got you, or what's coming up for you. Does anybody recognize that they already do this? Or they recognize, yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's good. I was hoping so, because you're sitting in front of me. I mean, you've gotten here somehow, right? So I'm glad to hear that something is at work within you. And where do you find either it's you've gotten some muscle and you're recognizing you're getting better? I would love to hear that. Please share. Or where, oh, I hit a stumbling block here. This consistently gets in my way. Yikes.
I'll speak up because I've been really working on staying in my present moment because of back concussion and other brain stuff, and 8 years out from cancer and ED, but staying in the present moment. When you do it all the time, what I'm seeing is like yesterday is so far away. It's like oceans away, but staying in the present moment to absorb. But I catch myself going off, getting distracted. And then I like how you say, breathe. And then I literally catch myself pulling myself back into that moment, whether it be meditating when you start jibber jabbering in your head. Oh, I need to do this. I need to go here. I need to do this. So I'm really living in the present moment. And the more I do it, the more refreshing it is. The more I feel like getting done. I have more energy. It just is it feels really good.
Great. I'm glad you find it working for you. My guess is too, that those times when you're catching it and bringing it back probably have some degree of predictability over time. Like I talk to clients like leading up to scans, leading up to certain dates on a calendar that can be term triggers. And they're like, whoa, I'm finding that I'm much more fragile right now, or that my head is going there a little bit more often. So you can begin to recognize, oh, hey, these are my tendencies. I'm going to be harder at work right now than other times. Jody, you've got your hand up.
When you said, pay attention to what is helpful and what's not helpful, and making a note of that kind of hit me like right in the chest, because I see so much of this works, and getting angry at myself when it doesn't work. I don't have the ability to differentiate and decide like, okay, this doesn't work for me. I can put it aside. Like, no, this works for someone else. I have to try harder and make it work. That's not something I need to do. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, and Jody, yes, 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 because you can read so much about this and you can listen to so many talks about this, but actually you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work in your day-to-day, walking through your life to know this is how I work. This is what happens to me when I'm laying in bed at night and cannot sleep. This is what happens to me when I am sitting in my waiting room, right? This is what I do. That might work for you, but this is what I need to do. Yeah. So I'm glad. Yeah. So keep taking notes because you're figuring yourself out. Here we go. As we go. Let's do some strategies. Let's look at this. And again, I'm just going to put a lot on the table, and maybe it's things that you've heard before, and maybe they're brand new to you. Maybe it triggers a conversation among each other. I think that's always really, really wonderful. So let's get back over here to this slide. Oh, I just saw this chat. This makes me giggle. I love this. Who is it? Who just said, I didn't anticipate a therapy session today. Love it. Well, welcome. So my professional hazard. Here I am in all my authenticity. Okay, so here we go. Strategy 1, work in your head. So just a second ago, I talked about, I highlighted those words, think, feel, right? So we're gonna, can I just feel real quick? I'm gonna see, did I put these in here? No, okay. So your stress, and this is an individual thing, Jody, and all, that your stress, how does it show up for you? When I am not feeling myself, I am feeling unsettled. Do you feel it in your body? Do you feel like a gut punch in your stomach? Do you feel tension in your shoulders? Do you feel butterflies? Do you feel buzzy in your head or a headache? That's your body? Do you feel emotional, like really sensitive and teary, irritable, impatient, frustrated, sad, lonely? Okay, those are emotions, those are feelings. Or do you just start spinning in your brain? Okay, if this were to happen, and then this is going to happen, and then I know this is going to happen, and I know that blah, 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 blah. Your head just starts telling you lots of stories. You're going to do all three. But I have noticed in my career that people tend to have a way that their stress shows up for them first. I know that I am feeling unsettled, or I am having a struggle moment because I feel it in my stomach, or I know because I suddenly feel very emotional. I feel very irritable, or I feel very sensitive or fragile, or I suddenly begin to recognize that my head is spinning. Okay. So I don't know who you are, but you do, or something to pay attention to. You might make a note about that for yourself. Let's begin. And I'm going to address our strategies are going to land in all those buckets. Okay. So first, strategy 1 is, let's start by working in your head. Okay. So if you're in a moment of struggle, oftentimes you're telling yourself a story that feels very, very true. Very true. It is going to do us no service for me to tell you it's not true, because it feels very true. So I say to my clients, might there be more truths? This is one very possible truth. And I know it feels very true to you, that pain that you feel is recurrence and that your cancer is back. Or it feels very true to you that no one would want to, or be interested in my body, or be interested in me. Could there be more truths? Can you write a different narrative for that story in your head? Okay, so let's go back to that pain. Okay, that pain that I'm feeling, or that fatigue that I'm feeling, that is making me feel like my cancer has come back, or something's changing in my cancer trajectory. Okay, truth be told, if I'm very honest, I was also working outside all weekend, and I just might be feeling pain, or just kind of my muscles are tired from that. Truth is that frankly, if I'm really being honest, I did not sleep at all last night, at all. So I'm tired because I didn't sleep at all last night. So I'm not telling you to throw out what you're thinking, but I'm aiming to add a little bit more color. Okay. Refocus your attention. So sometimes when we name the feeling that we're having, it takes some steam out of it. And that is cerebral, right? That is thinking. So if you think, what's going on for me? I am feeling angry. I am feeling impatient. The second that you say you are feeling it, and those words are important. I notice I said, I am feeling irritable. I am feeling impatient. Not I am impatient. I am feeling impatient. So that's an important piece of it, because you are yourself and yourself is feeling it, right? Very abstract today. But so you got to like, I am feeling impatient. I am feeling irritable. When you do that, it kind of creates a little space between you and that feeling. And in that space, you can drive. You get back into the driver's seat. Instead of the feeling being in the driver's seat, you're in the driver's seat. Practice self-compassion. So watch the language you use. I never, ever want to minimize or to change the language of my clients, because that is important to the way that they're feeling and the way that they're understanding what's going on for them. But I sometimes point out the level of intensity of the words they might choose. This is miserable. I am completely and totally alone. And all of those words that you're using seem to be on kind of this far end of the spectrum. Is there any other way of explaining how you're feeling that might be a little softer? Are those words kind of, are they affecting or adding to what you're feeling? Are they kind of fueling it for you? Just watch, just pay attention. I'll let you experiment with it. Watch it. And borrow the messages from others that have been meaning and comforting to you. So what I mean by that is, if you think about somebody in your inner circle, somebody who does really love you and care for you, what do they say to you? How do they speak to you? How do they comfort you? And is there any way that you can use those same words to comfort and to speak to yourself? Strategy 2, watching your relationship. Can you catch your thought traps? Okay, so this is still in your head. We're still thinking in our head here, and you're beginning to pay attention to what you're thinking. Does anybody know what I mean when I say thought traps? Have you heard that before? Is that a new phrase, or is that familiar to others? Name it to tame it, Heather. I just got over here to the chat. I love that phrase. Name it to tame it. Yes. I often get stuff catastrophizing. Tammy wrote that. I hope it's okay that I'm reading your chat out loud. Catastrophizing is a thought trap, Tammy. So Yvette is saying that this word thought trap is new to her. So when we begin to pay attention to our thinking, sometimes our thoughts get a touch distorted. And if our thoughts are distorted, then so are the feelings that those thoughts are driving, right? Ways that our thoughts get kind of not completely true, are a little bit distorted, are things like comparing ourselves to others and always landing on the bottom of that comparison. That can be a trap. That can be hurtful, right? Catastrophizing, when one thing begins to go all the way over into a catastrophe, that's kind of throwing our thinking way out into the future, not where we are right now, but this catastrophe that might happen down the road. All or nothing thinking. Okay, well, I have had, I've blown the diet already by 10 a.m. So I might as well just throw it all in and who cares what I ate today? Or you know what, I haven't been exercising. Who cares? I'm just going to lay on the couch all day. All or nothing. Or I have to do this perfectly, or I can't, that kind of thinking can get in our way. Shoulds, musts, and oughts. I should be doing this. I ought to be doing this. Sometimes that comes up when we think about survivorship and fortune telling, getting your glass ball out and beginning to kind of see into the future. At this point, I will, have a recurrence, or at some point, we don't have that. We don't know. So how do we stay in the present? We can get very, very consumed by our perceived future and kind of weighted down by your past, and we lose our present in there. We're squeezing out your present. What ifs are my traps, Sarah said. This is another get to know you moment for that notebook that you're doing. As I'm saying these traps, comparing, catastrophizing, all or nothing, should, must, ought, fortune telling, some of these you might look at and be like, I don't really do that, but I do this one. Or holy cow, you just totally named my mother or my sister or my best friend or my partner. We tend to have a way that our thoughts kind of go. And when, not unlike beginning to recognize your triggers, beginning to recognize, you know, I have a tendency to do that comparison thing. And I notice that now that I'm aware of that, now when I notice that line of thinking happening, I can kind of disengage from, or worked hard to disengage from it. Okay. So that might be another place that I would give you homework. How does your, so far I've given you the homework of how does your stress show up? Now I'm giving you homework of beginning to pay attention to what your thought traps might be, you uniquely, how you begin to kind of know what that is for you. Strategy 2, now we're going to kind of walk away from our thinking and move into your body. It is not uncommon, you know, when I'm working with clients in my office that people say, Julie, you know, I'm trying all of those things. I'm trying to change my what ifs into what is. I'm trying to find more truths. I'm trying to find evidence against this fear that I have, you know, but this thought is, it's too big. And I just keep coming back to yes, but that worry wheel is pretty intense. I can't do it. So then I say, well, you know, then your worry voice is working to ensnare you into a debate, right? And if you notice that's happening, if you're working really hard and that worry voice is just coming right back at just as strong, we are no longer, it's no longer about the content of that worry. Now your anxiety has taken over and it is about the fact that you are worrying, just the fact that you are worrying. Okay, so let's stop trying to argue with the worry voice, right? Because that's not really the issue anymore. The issue is that you're stuck in the wheel of worry. Okay. And so you can start with those cognitive things. I want you to have those tools in your toolbox because eventually they may be grounding and they may help you to redirect your attention. Right. But you might also get like, gosh, that's a lot of hard work and I'm getting nowhere. I'm kind of on a treadmill. Then you say, okay, freeze. This is no longer about this worry. I'm on the wheel. Now what? Okay. So this is when you notice that, that's when we're going to tune in and get calm. Your fear and your worry may never completely go away. I think that's an important thing to say out loud. I think there might be a level of anxiety that buzz within you that may always kind of be there on some level. There might be a tick of a thought that comes up from time and time again. Name it and claim it. We'd already talked to somebody already in the chat said, name it to tame it. So name it, take that hit of the feeling, see it, name it. I am in a moment of struggle. I am feeling a little more sensitive today. I'm feeling worry a little heavier today. Right? I've woken up this morning with an unsettledness in me. Just go ahead and name it. Give yourself some space with it. Okay. And when you do that, can I get a little nerdy? Can I get a little academic with you just to kind of tell you what's going on? Because I love that stuff. Is anybody else with me? But what's happening when you feel all of this fear and worry is your stress response has been triggered, right? You're very just, you know, primal stress response, which is your limbic system in your body. And you're in a fight, flight, or freeze, right? You're either fighting that feeling, you're totally frozen from it, or you want to just get away and you want to escape and you want to, like, I don't know, either totally numb out or do something that just kind of blah, right? You're in fight, flight, or freeze. If you can see that, that is all happening in your brain in this tiny little spot of your brain called the limbic system, which is way back here. Okay. In the most oldest part of your brain. It's about the size of your thumb. But when you name it, you engage your language center of your brain, which is way up here in your prefrontal cortex. So you've just now drawn a line from back here up to here. So name it, folks. Say it out loud. Name, I am feeling sad. I am feeling lonely. The moment you say it out loud, you've engaged your prefrontal cortex. And guess what else lives up there? Judgment, reasoning, impulse control. Okay. So just in that moment, you've kind of engaged the part of your brain that's like, okay, I see you. This feeling's with us right now. Got it. What are you needing? How are we going to move forward in this moment? Because this feeling's washing over you. You get back in the driver's seat. Name it. That's where that name it to claim it is. It's actually neurologically connecting different parts of your brain that are pretty important to how you cope. Before I go on to this strategy number 3, Control Alt Delete, I'm just going to say that this is a little more sophisticated. This is like a little deeper therapy land, but I'm going to give it to you to kind of chew on and think about. So often, unmet or, uncomfortable, distressing feelings, things that don't feel good. So when we feel irritated, when we feel impatient, when we feel disgust, when we feel sadness, lonely, most of the time when you feel that, there is an unmet need pushing that feeling. Meaning that there's something in you that you need. What is it? What are you needing? Are you needing connection? Are you needing love? Are you needing joy? Are you needing playfulness? Are you needing calm? Are you needing, what are you needing? Sometimes when it happens with other people, we get really frustrated. Okay, I'm needing partnership. I'm needing respect. I'm needing consideration. I'm needing acknowledgement. Okay, so and that might trigger some of that grief that comes back in. So I want you to hold on to that and think about that and how you find, and now I want to just take a moment, because I can see that hitting people, that back to that balance. Do you remember that balance slide I had? Another place where I think it's so important, you guys, to have balance is we all need to have the skill to be able to reach out and ask someone to support us. Ask for what we need. But that is an important skill. How do I reach and say, this is what I'm needing? But we also need to be able to have the skill to comfort and care for ourselves. Both. You've got to have both. And there are times when I'm listening in my office where people are really, their tendency is to reach and to ask and to go. And it's really uncomfortable for them to be alone with their hurt, right? So you might be sitting here thinking with your, and now we're really having a therapy session all en masse. It's like an en masse therapy session right now. But when you've got that journal right in front of you, I want you to think about that. Where do you need to build muscle? Do you need to be one of those people that gets a little bit more comfortable and confident to ask and to reach? Or are you one of those people that needs to kind of build some skill to know, what do I do in the dark of the night? What do I do that when I'm all by myself? I don't know who you are. I don't know you out there, but I want you to think about that, okay? Jody, Jody, do you mind? I hope you don't mind. I might just read your chat here. By trying to name my feelings when they're uncertain to me, I've been able to rule out what I'm not feeling, leading to growth. Oh, good for you. That's work. Okay, I'm going to reach over. This is weird. You're probably going to see my stomach. I'm reaching over in my office. Look, you have me on my table. In my office, if you were sitting in my office, I have this, which is a feeling wheel, because so often I'm sitting with people and they're like, and I'm like, how are you feeling? Or they get really teary and I'm like, oh, what's going on for you? What's happening right now? And they can't name it. And I just give them this. And it's a whole massive list of feelings. How many things of homework have I given you already? I'm giving you another one. Grow your feeling word vocabulary. We often use the same feeling words again and again and again. I'm even doing it, right? I feel irritable. I feel impatient. I feel sad. I feel lonely. What are some other feelings you might have? I feel overwhelmed. I feel out of control. I feel pressure. I feel frightened. I feel helpless. I feel inadequate. I feel furious, jealous. All right. The more sophisticated you get with how you feel, the wiser and you're going to become with how to tend to yourself. Okay. This is all growing. Okay. Okay, let's keep moving here. Strategy 3, Control Alt Delete. Kind of love this one. Does anybody know this? Can you get with me on this? Like, I mean, I am a big fan of this sometimes in my big, fat, busy life, that sometimes I just like in a big feeling and I don't have time for that feeling right now. I got other things I got to do, right? I've either got to get to work or I've got to make dinner or I've got to get some other things and I need to parachute out of this feeling. So when you have that, I think what you're going to say is like, I'm having a moment of struggle. So let's still name it. I'm still going to say name it because I don't want you to dismiss it or ignore it. I'm having a moment of struggle. I'm feeling this right now. It's coming up. I can't tend to you right now, but I'm going to handle you later at 5 o'clock or at 6 o'clock. I'm going to give you all of my attention feeling right now. I got to get dinner on the table. And I got to get dressed and get out the door for work. Those things don't happen at the same time. Those were two different examples. But so sometimes it's helpful to kind of just control, alt, delete, get outside. Okay. So a way to kind of move out of this bubble. Sometimes our feelings can feel like a bubble, right? And we got to pop that bubble, get outside, go for a walk, feel that temperature on your skin, get something, do something creative. So good. So, and when you complete a creative project, you get like this fantastic burst of endorphins, which is really lovely. Do physical activities, connect with other people. Don't talk at all about what's worrying you. Just let it be. Don't remember, we're in control, alt, delete. We're parachuting out for a second. So we're going to focus somewhere else. Turn on music playlist. Sometimes it helps to take the spotlight off of you. Right. So this is what I'm feeling. And I've got to turn my attention to other people right now because I've got to kind of calm. I've got to find some calm first because I'm feeling really activated or really reactive. And then when I get calm and when I'm able to kind of get my feet on the ground, I've got a little bit more clarity. Then I'm going to come on back to this and I'm going to be tender and I'm going to better understand it. But right now, whoa, I'm just, Kimberly just said, yes, take the spotlight off of you. So, right, we're all in our head about ourselves and how horrible and miserable this is. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. I'm not minimizing that, but I got to take a break from that from a second so that I can get some calm and then I'll come back to it. Thought delay, bookmark it. I say a lot of times to my clients, okay, I am making a note in our progress notes that you're feeling this way right now. I see it. I can feel the heaviness of this. And I'm going to circle this date on my calendar and we're going to check in a week and we're going to see where you are. I want you to begin to recognize the waves. Okay. Not because it feels great to be in the bottom of a wave, because it doesn't, but it's helpful when you are in the bottom of a wave to know that it is probably going to change. So that concept of impermanence can be your very, very best friend. Move your body. Okay, so here we are back to this feeling of like your body might feel betrayal or my body in fact is a trigger. How do I use my body to calm me? And I think that your body is an incredibly powerful tool. It has the capacity to bring you right on back to right now in this present moment, away from that spinning thought of the fear of the future, away from regret, shame, embarrassment, hurt, sorrow, grief of the past, and right on back to now. So what are some things you can do to bring yourself back? Before I go into this, I want to just check here. No. Okay. So I've got some ideas on this slide, but I'm also going to give you some others that you may already know about. Do you know about square breathing? Got some good nods out there. I like that. I'm going to say it out, I'm going to teach it just to tell you, but you hear people talk about take a deep breath or use your breathing to get back to your present all the time. And I think that, that's like another thing, like letting people head into the weight room and being like, well, lift weights. Well, how do I do that? Right? Like, what do I do? What do you mean? Can you give me a little bit more specific direction? So square breathing really helps us. So if you think of drawing a square in the sky, in the air around before you, right? If you inhale on each side of the square is 4 counts. Okay. And when you go up, you're going to inhale for 4. Hold for 4, exhale down for 4, hold for 4, inhale up for 4, hold for 4, exhale, hold for 4. And that will probably help you get into the right rhythm. When you're doing that, I would encourage you to get both feet flat on the ground. Touch your body. Okay, so really feel that ground underneath you. Take a deep breath. If you feel really hit by emotion in that time, your balance, back to that slide of balance, your work right now is to calm. Don't dive into the thinking right now. You're already feeling activated. Right now, your work is to calm. So how do you quiet that? Square breathing is wonderful. What about, here's another one. Do you know 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Yes, Karen knows that. Okay, Sarah thinks she knows it. Heather. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is also wonderful. I think that this is a really particularly helpful one when you can't sleep at night, or when you're someplace and you begin to feel the rush of anxiety or panic or sadness. 5, you're going to use your 5 senses. 5 things you see, that should be pretty easy. Like for me, I see my water bottle, I see my sunglasses, I see my lamp, I see a plant. 5 things you see. 4 things you hear. I hear the clock ticking. I hear the car outside. I hear my noise machine. That's 4. 3 things that you feel, not emotions. So not, I feel frustrated, I feel anxiety. I feel the fabric of my sweater on my skin, or I feel the temperature of the air on my skin. I feel the soles of my feet on the ground, or the chair under my seat. I can feel my heartbeat inside of my body. Okay, so 3 things you feel, 2 things that you smell, 1 thing that you taste. Now, as you work your way through that, it takes increasingly more attention. So back to taking your attention off of yourself. If you've ever heard me speak before, I often think of attention as a flashlight. So when we're feeling fear and worry, that flashlight is totally on. That story or that thought trap, or our sadness, or our fear, or worry, our flashlight is on that. And you're going to work to move that flashlight over to your body, which is in the present, which can help you to feel more grounded and calm. Okay. So if you can think about, okay, my flashlight, where I'm focusing is here, and I need to move that focus somewhere else to feel calm, to feel quiet. And here, when we're back to thinking about our relationship with our body, what a beautiful way to rediscover your body can help you, can serve you, has the ability to calm you. And that might be something to begin to kind of acknowledge too. Getting to know this changed physical self. So it takes time to understand the changes in your body too, right? So set an intention of curiosity and care. Just get curious, but with care. Give yourself time, space, and permission to feel whatever comes up for you. So maybe you know what, I have not yet looked at those scars. And that's going to be emotional for me, and something might be hard. So I'm not just going to do it brief. I'm going to take some time, or I'm going to do it on a day when I don't have a lot I've got to do. I've got to move slowly into that moment. I've got to talk about it with somebody that I feel safe with and that I trust. Remind yourself that feeling is simply feeling, and there's no right, wrong, good, bad feelings. You got to be really careful about that, judging what we're feeling. What you feel makes a heck of a lot of sense. Here's when I said the reality check. Part of self-compassion is the reality check. Let's put all this on the table. You had cancer diagnosis, you had to go through treatment. There are probably, we've had a global pandemic. Hello. We don't all know how to think or act or behave in that relative to other people. Or maybe we do, but other people don't. There's a lot going on with that. There's other stressors and pressures and responsibilities you all have. You're not just a cancer diagnosis. You've got a lot else going on in your life. Put that all on the table. And when you do that, it might be easier to say, well, no wonder I feel overwhelmed. Well, no wonder I feel lost and confused and hurt. No wonder. Look at my table here. So that is a step toward your self-compassion. connecting with other survivors. I'm so glad that you've come in today and you found each other. I think we're going to have a little bit of time here, and I'm glad for it, that we can still talk more together because your voices are so important. Be gentle with yourself. Remember that concept of impermanence, right? Your feelings will change from day to day. One of my favorite sayings, I think people who've heard me speak giggle, and my clients even giggle, that one of the best things they've heard in my office is that the best thing to do with a crappy day is just go to bed. Just be done with it. Like that day's done. Just that's it. You know, like this day is not getting any better. I'm just going to get in bed, and tomorrow morning things will likely feel different. Okay. So holding on to this feeling will change. If it's not changing, just a quick pause on that. If it's not changing and you're feeling, you've done that bookmarking and you've noticed it and you've circled the date on your calendar and you've checked in a week, you've checked in a month. This is a really important conversation to have with somebody in your medical team, because maybe a conversation around medicine would be helpful to you to get some of the balance back in your mental health. Those things are out there to help you. Okay, so let's do some of these strategies and also know that there are other ways to get support and help too. Ignoring your needs and dismissing hard feelings can often intensify it, right? Sometimes when it's all living in our head and we're ignoring it and we're withdrawing and we're constricting, which is what we tend to do when we feel stress, that sometimes makes it bigger. And you know, the second that you walk out into the bright sunshine day, suddenly there's a little bit more perspective and balance as soon as we begin to talk about it. The great Fred Rogers has a quote. The great Fred Rogers. It sounds like he's like, you know, sitting on the, he has a wonderful, so many quotes, but one of his favorite quotes that I love is, anything that's human is mentionable, and anything that is mentionable becomes more manageable. So the minute we start talking about our feelings, we are better able to tend to them and to care for them. So start talking about it. And when we talk about our feelings, we kind of begin to work things out in a very organic way. I watch that in my office. You know, sometimes I feel my role here is just to hold a safe space so that people can come and they can talk it out and they can hear themselves kind of organically and naturally find their way all on their very own. So you can do that too. There's a lot of people talking to themselves in the car, in the shower, all kinds of stuff. Keep it up. It's okay. Begin to cultivate a range of coping behaviors that are helpful to you. So you might have your go-to things you know are comforting and calming, but beginning to cultivate a range of things can be helpful, because the same thing isn't going to work in the middle of a boardroom at your office as compared to 2 a.m. in the morning in your bed, right? So you need a couple different things. Give yourself time. Two things I have to say. One, I am just noticing that Karen has a bunny. I thought it was a cat, but in fact, it's a bunny. That just is that makes me giggle, and it feels really cozy and nice. And I like that. Second, I am so grateful that you've all been here today. Whether you have shared and told me your truth and what's going on for you, or whether you have just sat and processed this and taken it in, tuck this close. This is your journey. This is your life. This is important to understand. Go ahead and start right after we hang up, getting to know you and making this a priority, because you matter a great deal.